Yeah. So I was discussing about the same thing. Yeah. What is Docker? So Docker is a container management tool. And when you say container management tool, that means what is the tool? What this tool will do? So this tool will save your time, save your cost, help you to improve in your quality of software. But how? So saving your time, that means running application in 1 second. Earlier, how much time you were spending to running one application? 5 minutes with the VM technology. 1 hour or 1 day for laptop. So that way you can save the cost, save the time. Saving cost means when you run application with the containers help, Docker helps in a container, then you consume less CPU, less RAM, and no operating system cost. So for you, when you have a laptop, anyways you are using or not using, but you are running, that does not matter. But when you look at the data center cost, where you are running thousands and thousands of applications, then it matters a lot. CPU, RAM, and OS matters a lot. And same time, when I can save your time, you can utilize that time with the you know um, quality coding and quality testing of your software, and that is where you can improve the quality of your software. So these are the things which you can do with the help of this tool. So these are the primary use cases also. Management means creating a container, starting the container, stopping the container, and removing the containers, and so on, using the Docker. That is a management capability what Docker has. So Docker can create a container, start the container, stop the container, remove the container, and so on. Now last thing is, what is a container? That is what we are discussing right now. So guys, if you want to discuss the container, we need to forget the container and we need to go back to the computing model. Actually, I just said you need to forget the container. So I'm not teaching you container anymore. I'm only discussing one thing, and that is how to run applications. That's all. Maybe it's a very simple question, but whatever the answer you are thinking of, I'm not thinking of that stuff. Let me put it up in a different way. What are the resources? What are the resources we need to run applications? What are the resources we need to run applications?
RAM,
Okay, so what are the
CPU,
resources? Hmm?
RAM,
So
CPU,
yes, you need
hard
all these
disk,
resources.
and
Operating
OS.
system with
Yeah. So you need a hardware, correct now? First of all, hardware, whatever is it. After that, you set software. When it's a software operating system. In operating system, what you have? Primarily, you have a kernel. Kernel. In order to run application, what you need? Let me check it out. Go to the task manager. Linux and Windows almost same concept actually. Nothing difference. So in terms of computing model, don't differentiate. It's just only UI changes. See here. Look at my screen very carefully. This is a this solar application is running my system. Is running my system. See that here. 1, 2, 3. All these are applications. What you need? One PID number you need, and here you need some CPU allocations, some RAM applications. Okay, here you see. So you see the CPU may be 0 because not used. It's running but it's not used. But memory has to be allocated all the time to run this. If you need this, one user also needed. Correct now? So this is one applications. I need one paid ID, one user I need, some CPU I need, some RAM I need. Agree with me? Agree with me? Hello? Hello?
yes.
So this application we stored somewhere, right? So don't you into the file system? See here, some file system you need, root file system we call it. And this application, let's say if you're accessing on the internet, so networking is also needed. So question is, when we have hardware, Then and then kernel. Kernel, we have one library. Kernel, what is a kernel? It's a program actually. It's a code. Code you have one type of code we call it an namespace code. Another type of code we call it C groups code. These are the different types of code we have. Another which we have a code which is called capabilities. Capabilities. So these are the codes which we have. And again, in the namespaces also, there's a different types of code we have. One code we call it a network code. One code we call it a PID code. One code we call it a user code. One code we call it a MNT code. Like that, few more. The question I'm having in my mind is, what is the network namespace, PID namespace, user namespace, MNT namespace? Guys, I'll ask you in a more conceptual way. Do you understand the concept of class and object, all of you? Do you understand?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. So if you understand, so let's say how many objects you can create from one class? How many objects you can create from one class?
Create a number of objects.
Number of it, yeah. So like that, these are the classes, kind of. I'm not saying class, but kind of. Just I want to help you to visualize the problem area. So these are the code actually. In the kernel is the code. This is the code. This is a type of code. This is again subtype of code. So using if you initialize this network code, you will create one network. How many network you can create? N number of network you can create. PID, you initialize the PID tree. PID means this is creating a PID tree actually. So PID tree means one PID tree. I'll tell you in simple way. PID ID and PID tree is different. Okay. So every PID tree, if you see that, they'll start with a 0. Look at this here. So 0, then 1, then Apache, you logged in 2, you run Apache 4, 3, like that. This is created a PID tree of process ID. So how many PID tree you have? Only one, starting with a 0. So this whole things we call it a PID tree, whereas this is called PID ID. Correct now? So here I'm talking the PID namespace means it will create a PID tree. So how many created in a system? One. But how many you can create n? How many users you can create in a system n? How many users? How many root? MNT means root file system. The root file system. So guys, there is a file system. There are multiple file systems we have. File system. So one is a boot file system. Boot means boot file system means kernel. This is the one. Code. Boot file system means boot code. Then we have a root file system. Root file system. Have you seen this? Let me show you. In just a second. Where is that? Here. So root file system, you have seen it. Let me show you. And do let me know if you have seen it or not. This all good image, but I want better image actually because I want to show you. This is a good. Have you seen this anywhere?
Yeah, you
Anyone?
have shown this only. You have only shown this in couple of classes
Where?
last week. Maybe.
In Linux, right?
Yeah.
Linux file
Yeah.
system. Now let me show you the root file system of Windows. I am in Windows, so it's very simple. Guys, where is my PC? This is cheating actually. PC. Okay, no problem. Here it is. This is the root file system. C drive. This is the root file system. Program files, Windows, and all these are root file systems in Windows. So MNT means what? root file system. Mount, what you see. How many C drive you have seen in laptop? One. How many can you create? One. So here if you see that, what I'm trying to teach you, very simple thing. Kernel, we have a namespace. There is a namespace, a net namespace. Create a networking. How many you have seen in PC? And can. In PC means personal computing. How many C? One. One. N user is allowed to create. And N C drive means multiple mounts. How many? One mount you can see. But how many you can create? N. That means actually, you know what? Kernel can create multiple network, multiple PID tree, multiple user, multiple mount, multiple C drive we can create. But here only one your PC or operating system allowed. Why? Because of PC concept. That means it should be friendly for using for the human, not for the data center. Now C groups will allocate the CPU and RAM. You might have seen this CPU and RAM here. This is the CPU and RAM to the PID ID. So that's the job of the resource allocation. Capability will decide the what kind of access this user have. Okay. So in order to run applications, understand that. In order to run application, you need a hardware, you need a kernel, and then here if I look at this, you need a one user, one PID, one network on one MNT. So here application need how many? One, one, all this thing. But whereas you can create n infinity. So are you okay with this, all of you?
Yes, Rajesh.
Hello, comfortable?
Yeah, Rajesh.
Okay, so now the question was still same. What are the resources we need to run an application? So let me draw the pictures here. Go for MS Paint. So guys, look at me very carefully. This is the hardware layer. On top of that, you have operating system, which you can call kernel. And the kernel, these are the resources we have. So what will happen, the PC, what happens in the PC when you start using PC, then one root file system get created, then one PID get created, then one network got created. So let me write it so you'll not forget. So this is the kernel. This is the MNT root file system. This is the PID tree, and this is the network. And then what happens? What happens, guys? Then this is a user created. So how do I draw the user's picture? This is the user. This is the one user, two user, and three users. Now, if you look at this, this is a simple model for the computing. So this user get share the same network, same PID tree, same mount means C drive, D drive, whatever it is. Here also they share this here, and this user also share this, and so on. Now this guy, if this guy wants to run Apache, this guy also wants to Apache, this guy also wants to run Apache. So tell me my questions to all of you. This guy run Apache on 80 port, PID is 50, and he's storing the files in the C Apache. Will you get the 80 port for the other users also? Tell me. Will you get yes or no? Another guy also wants to run Apache. Would you
No,
get?
it won't be available.
No. Why? Because there is only one network. So this guy another will get a PID 50. Will he get the PID 50?
No.
No. Why? Because there's only PID here. So 50, he can get 51, but PID 51 is already allocated. Look at the live thing, no? See that PID is duplicated ever? Have you seen any duplicate PID? No. So no. Now guys, this guy is storing that files in C Apache or OPT Apache. This guy, can he store in the C Apache, OPT Apache? No, because the integrity of the file will be compromised.
Thanks for watching. Want to study further? Join our training programs today.